The engine smoking as Steve Evans walks up to Ray Beadle.
Raymond Beadle comes out, Dave, and he says, that's a good one there. Let's get the helmet off, and let me tell you how good it really was. You're not going to believe this. You just traveled the quarter mile faster than any man has ever done it. 249 miles an hour, 5.92 seconds. It feel that good?
It was a good run. I knew it was really good. Car left hard that time, and it moved hard through the middle, so and it run good on the top end. Didn't lay over, and we didn't hurt it, so we knew we made a good run.
Now, NHRA requires a 1% backup on a record. Do you have a previous run that would back that up, do you think?
We run 246. I don't know if that backs it up.
It might do it.
Okay.
And bonus World Championship points as well for a new record if you did it.
We need all we can get.
Steve, a quick check with the officials reveal that the 246 is not good enough to back up that 249-mile-an-hour run. We'll keep our eyes on Ray Beadle in the later rounds to see if he can back up that record. Right now, Tom Hovland out of the Corn Belt of Iowa from Mason City will be going up against Jim Dunn, the 46-year-old fireman from Long Beach, California. Jim Dunn's drag racing days date back into the earliest part of the sport, when he was driving cars on the West Coast known as fuel altereds at that time, little Fiats with big fuel-burning Chrysler engines in them. Jim Dunn has graduated to the top-of-the-line funny cars. He is a former Super Nationals champion. To be racing against Tom Hovland, this is one of the rare appearances of Hovland on the NHRA championship circuit, and Jim Dunn has got a lead off the starting line as Hovland's motor lets go, and it is Jim Dunn with the win, 6.20, 230 miles an hour. So as some folks say, Jim Dunn doesn't get older, he just gets better. Quick on the lights, the car tuned to perfection, and he and Hovland are matched side by side at about halfway through the racetrack. As the engine starts to let go in Hovland's car, he immediately shuts it down, and Jim Dunn takes an easy run and comes to a slowing halt at the end of the racetrack. Hovland out of his car, taking off his safety suit, the fire suit that all drivers wear in these fuel-burning classes, shaking his head as our next pair of cars already completing their burnout. Don Prudhomme to be racing against Fuzz Miller. For Miller, it was an exciting time in round number one. As we take a look back in the first round of eliminations, it was Fuzz Miller against Gary Bergen. And you can see Bergen losing control. He goes across the racetrack and comes within inches of Fuzz Miller. We asked Fuzz, does this bother you when you're racing again?
No, that doesn't bother me at all. We're just trying to get the car to repeat. It ran a 608 followed by a 606. We didn't hurt it much at all when we ran the 08. When we ran the 06, we obviously had a little left for a loss in transmission. And now we're just going to put it back to where it should run a low O if we can get off the line without spinning the tires.
He is against the man that has been the dominant force in funny car racing for so many years, Don Prudhomme, and Fuzz Miller is going to need every 6-0 he can find. For Prudhomme, this has been a good season thus far. He is getting back on the winner's trail, and he is matched against Miller here in round number 2 of racing. Bernie Lewis, the crew chief for Fuzz Miller, checking something inside the car as they approach the starting line. For Prudhomme, he's patiently sitting and idling. Miller now into the staging beams. And a good lead, but both drivers, and Prudhomme's out of control into the guardrail. Something going wrong. He must have blown an engine. His wife, Lynn, is concerned. She shows it. Back at the starting line, Prudhomme brings the car under control. Fuzz Miller, no problem with him. He brings it to a slowing stop, and look at Prudhomme jump out of that car. First thing he does, looks underneath it and finds an exploded engine. What happened was, as he left the starting line, the engine exploded. He got into his own oil. The tires no longer had traction. And let's watch again as they leave the starting line. It is Miller in the far lane, Don Prudhomme in the bright yellow car here on the tower side. As you see, Prudhomme going out of control. He runs into the guardrail. The guardrail gives just a little bit, bounces him back on the track, and the crafty veteran brings the car back under control. Prudhomme talking to the NHRA Safety Safari crew, and he is A-OK. How about Fuzz?
You told me earlier you'd only raced Prudhomme once and you had beat him. You felt really confident about this, didn't you?
Well, I keep thinking we'll get the car to match up with the runs it was making the other day, and we're having problems because the motor was real lean that run. But we had raced him once under NHRA competition for points before.
Steve, that's one cool young race driver, Fuzz Miller. Here we have our final pair of funny cars in this round of eliminations. It will be John Pott at the wheel of Larry Kugel's Sting. They're based in Indiana, racing against the Massachusetts product, Al Segrini. From Easton, Massachusetts, Segrini brings his 81 Omni-bodied car to race against this 1980 Pontiac Trans Am body. The fiberglass bodies covering those 2,500 horsepower engines. A great start by both drivers, and they are just locked in a head-to-head battle, and it is Johnny Pott pulling it out at the last few feet, 6.22 seconds elapsed time, and a big win for John Pott at the wheel of Larry Kugel's Sting. This was one of those races just too close to call all the way down the racetrack until right at the finish line. We'll watch John Pott just pull ahead by a few feet and take the win over Al Segrini. There it is, one car length. That's all that matters. Steve Evans has had a chance to catch up with Don Prudhomme and ask him about his mishap.
Dave, we've caught up with Don Prudhomme in his pits as they get ready to load this car. And Don, the damage to the car is surprisingly small considering how hard it appeared you hit the wall.
Yeah, actually the exhaust headers and the left rear tire took a majority of the blow. I was quite fortunate, but it didn't get over the guardrail. You know, lost an engine, I got my oil and just hit the guardrail.
It's been a long time since you've made contact with anything like that.
Yeah, it has, but you know, when you're at the Indy Nationals here and you're running all out and trying to beat guys like Beal and Bernstein and so on, I mean, you got to step on it, and you know, this is for keeps.
Your wife, Lynn, seemed concerned. She thought maybe you ought to be checked. You feeling all right?
I'm just fine. She's hit me harder than this.
Steve, at least Don Prudhomme has not lost his sense of humor. Here's the pairings for the semifinals. Ray Beadle against Johnny Pott, Jim Dunn against Fuzz Miller. We're at the US Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park and ready for the semifinal round of Funny Car Eliminator. Under threatening skies as the dark clouds have started to move in. Not many superstar names left. Jim Dunn against Fuzz Miller. Ray Beadle, the reigning world champion, will be racing Johnny Pott. But this first pair, we see Big Jim Dunn in the far lane, the fireman from Long Beach, California. We had a chance earlier to ask Jim Dunn, are you intimidated by the big-time racers?
No, every year I come over here, and it's strictly an ego for this deal. You know we're going to lose money, but, you know, it makes me happy. Every year we come down and try to send one of them big old 18-wheelers home, and every year we send one home.
For Jim Dunn, his competitor will be Fuzz Miller, and I'm sure that Fuzz is hoping that Dunn at least keeps it in his lane and out of the guardrail. As we've seen earlier in both of the preceding rounds of competition, Fuzz Miller's opponent had the misfortune of losing control and either crossing in front or right next to him or into the guardrail. The final check by his crew chief, and Fuzz Miller in the near lane in the Pandemonium car will be going off against the fireman's quickie of Jim Dunn. And it is Big Jim Dunn into the finals of the US Nationals, 6.23 seconds, and his young son is overjoyed. For the 46-year-old fireman, what a thrill to make it to the finals of this 27th annual U.S. Nationals. For Fuzz Miller, a creditable showing as he also helped put away some of the big names. Here is the one truly great name left in funny car racing. That is the #1 Blue Max, the world champion. Raymond Beadle from Dallas, Texas, does the driving. Racing against Beadle will be Johnny Pott, the driver for Larry Kugel. Earlier, we asked Johnny, do you think you can beat the world champ?
Oh, you bet. I mean, if we get with a little luck and a little more power, we can handle it.
Okay, now what do you do to make more power? You've got to run a 592 funny car.
Well, it's been running a little bit on the lean side today, and we're going to see if we can richen the system up a little bit. And when it's lean, it doesn't run as well. We're going to richen it up a little bit so it should run better.
For Raymond Beadle, he's taking dead aim on that new NHRA national record of 249.30 miles an hour. He set it on the preceding round of eliminations. He must run within 1% of that time to back it up and have it become an official record. For Johnny Pott and Larry Kugel, all they want to do is win. They aren't worrying about records or anything else. And it is Pott giving Beadle a close race. But look at Beadle fly at the finish, and there it is, 6.04 the elapsed time. But the win and the national record going to Raymond Beadle. as wife Holly and son Ryan look on. Steve Evans is with Jim Dunn.
All right, big Jim Dunn. His wife helps him get the fire suit off. 30 years you've been drag racing, and once before. What year were you in the final round here in Top Fuel?
Oh, in Top Fuel, it's been so long ago, I don't know, it must have been early 60s.
Since the early 60s, and you were just 5 seconds away. Nothing stands between you and the biggest payday in drag racing history, but Raymond Beadle.
Well, I'll say something I wouldn't have said 4 days ago. I'll guarantee you I'll be runner-up at least.
Ray Beadle takes the Blue Max back to the pits to begin the preparations for his final round race against Big Jim Dunn. You hear the sound of the 2,500 horsepower nitro-burning engines that signify semifinal round of Top Fuel Eliminator. David Pace against Connie Colita. Johnny Abbott will be racing Terry Cap, the defending champion. Here we've got David Pace has completed his burnout, but Connie Colita is still sitting back. The engine is not started. He's beating on the steering wheel. Colita watching his competition go through the burnout routine, and yet not a sign of life out of that big engine that's sitting right behind him. Colita trying to tell his crew exactly what he thinks they should do. The crew member working diligently on it. Colita beginning to show the frustration of not being able to do anything about the fact that the engine won't start. Just about throwing his hands up in disgust as David Pace backing slowly into the area. Should Colita be able to fire the car, he could bring it right straight to the starting line. A very short burnout and then come up. Colita now trying to tell crew chief Ron Barrow exactly what he should do as far as trying to get the starter motor to work. Trying to talk through that face mask and the fire protective equipment that he wears underneath the helmet. But yet nothing seems to be working for Connie Colita. For David Pace, a very patient and slow, deliberate routine. But for Colita, oh, he's coming out of the car. That means it's all over. It's a single for David Pace. And it appears that Colita is angry as he throws his helmet into the cockpit. David Pace brings the Carroll Brothers dragster to the starting line. And here is Colita trying to start the car. I guess he must be trying to prove to his crew that the starter motor will work, as David Pace just launches off the starting line, then shuts it down. He had an easy go of it in round number one as Frank Bradley red-lighted. Here he had a single, and he saved the motor to go into the finals. For Connie Colita, tremendous disappointment. He had built himself up to this race. He had been running 570 elapsed times, but now he strides off an unhappy man, having lost here in the semifinal.
Well, every drag racer's dream comes true for David Pace, the final round of the U.S. Nationals.
Got a lot of gifts today. The first round and then this one. It must be our day.
You've had the performance, too. It's 250 miles an hour.
Yeah, it shook a little that time, and we just wanted to see what that lane was like.
Is this your first final round appearance in major competition?
No, we were runner-up at Denver at the Mile High, but other than that, this is it. This means a lot more than that one.
And we hear rumors that the Carroll brothers are going to retire. It'd be a nice way to go out.
Sure would. This and maybe one more race, that'll probably do it.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
David Pace, driving the Carroll Brothers car, will race one of these two drivers. Terry Cap, the wheeler dealer, hails from Canada. He won it all and he's got problems. A year ago, he was the U.S. Nationals champion. He wants to repeat. He's got to get by this round of competition to earn the right to face David Pace, but right now, he's got to trust and hope that his crew can get the car prepared, as there is some problems with the engine. Johnny Abbott is sitting on the opposite side of the track, just waiting for Terry Cap or for the word from the starter that he will get a single. Right now they're saying let's hold up and wait a few moments as they are still working on Terry Cap's car. They now begin to back away from it. Apparently it is okay. The starting line crew says bring it forward. Starter Buster Couch looking over, saying for everyone else to clear back and give Terry Cap and Johnny Abbott racing room. The winner goes into the finals, and a great start by Johnny Abbott. Abbott in the far lane of the track in a close race. He wins it 5.84 seconds, 244 miles an hour. For Terry Cap, what a disappointment. He had to wait on the starting line, possibly broke his concentration just a little bit. Let's see if we can see Johnny Abbott. Yes, there it was, just a few hundredths of a second ahead of Terry Cap off the starting line. Now we begin to see Cap's motor go away. Now Abbott's starting to spit some smoke. but at the finish line, this is one of the closest races you could ever ask for. Johnny Abbott wins it 584 to Terry Capps 580.